French Game World Tour. We're still here with my wonderful co-host, Proto.
Welcome back, everyone.
So terrible. Every time I'm going to laugh, I swear to you. So we've already seen two great games. One of them we could play, the other one not, because it's
The other one we wish we could play.
I wish I did. I would love to feed that creature with some bad people, flesh and blood.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds a bit sadist, doesn't it? Kind of, a bit.
A bit.
Well, that's fine. Next up, we have two conferences. The first one is about the video game place in the worldwide industry, and then we will have Ubisoft and Nadio that will be there with Trackmania, with Arta France. I don't want to say too much about it, but if you've never heard of them, you will be super surprised. They've come up with something about accessibility of the video games. I'm just teasing you. I'm teasing you. I'm giving you crumbs. Accessibility of Trackmania, especially.
I'm really curious, to be honest, because as a gamer who has a right hand which is not really working very well, I'd love to see what they came up with.
Well, you'll see what you can do when you put your mind to it. But we will start with our first conference about the world place of the video game. So let's welcome our guests, if they're all here. Hi, everybody.
Hey, hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Pretty fine, and you?
Really good.
Oh, we're great.
Really good.
Just put your sound up a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
Okay, that should... Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, so first of all, what I would like to do is let you introduce yourself, probably, introduce the company you're representing today. We can start with ladies first, if that's okay with you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So yeah, thank you for inviting me today. So I'm a vice president at l'Agence Esport, which is a French organization in Esport, and which goal is to professionalize and to gather different companies from the French Esport ecosystem. Previously, I worked in other industries. So I graduated from Toulouse Business School and the Sorbonne in France. Then I worked for 10 years in Paris in the movie industry, in the media and in entertainment. And then I moved to London, where I worked for 6 years in the OTT industry. So OTT industry is not famous, but it's companies like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, NBA, etc. And I was managing international sports federations, the links with, for example, I managed one of the first UFC fights being broadcasted live the whole night by the BBC and by British Telecom in the UK. And I was also in charge of relationship with Hollywood studios. So basically for me, moving back to France and working in Esport was something normal to me, because I did licensing with very, very famous brands in the past, and I know everything about live broadcast and streaming and team management and license management and sponsoring. So this is the reason why I joined l'Agence Esport, because this is what I like. And Esport, well, I used to work in a very close industry from gaming when I started my career. And actually, well, movie industry and the gaming industry were really, really close 20 years ago, before everything moved to digital. So these are topics that I'm used to working on every day. So I'm happy to be there today.
That is quite a resume.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed. you should be proud. It's so impressive. Okay, thank you so much for that introduction.
Like, what should I say? What shouldn't I say? I should be really quick, but how can I say things without explaining before? So yeah.
No, that's fine. Thanks.
Anyway.
Then guys, who wants to go first? Jose, you can maybe go first.
Go.
Okay, thank you very much. Well,
I'm Jose. I'm the head of the Spanish Video Game Association, which is the trade association and main organization of the video game sector in Spain. We are also part of ISFE, which is the European Federation of Video Games, of which I'm member of the board. And currently, AEBI represents more than 75 companies. Among them, there are development studios, there are publishers, there are universities and academic centers, there are retailers, and there are also different stakeholders that form part of the esports industry here in Spain. So currently, we represent more than 90% of the full video game sector in Spain, and we do many different things because of course, we represent all different agents. We collaborate with public administrations and decision-making institutions. We work to ensure a sustainable model for the future here in Spain and in Europe. We work on promoting a plural and responsible use of video games, and we try to also generate a public positive image of our sector, and talk about its cultural and innovative contribution to the economy and to the society.
Great.
By the
Wow.
way, I'm glad we do this in English. You were talking about this before, because my wife and my daughters, who are French, laugh at me every time I try to speak in French. So thank you.
I'm sure
Oh
it's
no,
I'm sure
come
it's
on.
perfectly okay. At least you're trying. So many people
Yeah.
do not even try.
Yeah.
Thank you for that introduction. And François, maybe? Well, not maybe. You're the last one.
Okay, first, at least you try to speak French, which is pretty great. Thank you, Jose. And so I'm Francois. I am a managing director for an association called Push Start, which is a professional cluster covering the Occitanie region in France. We are working with people that build, sells, and people that will build and sell video games. We are used to work with other associations which are doing the same thing on other regions. So we can have projects that are just in Occitanie and projects that are all around France. In fact, national scale. We are working usually with National Syndicate too, SNGV, and with the CEL, which is more on edition professional, and well, that's quite all I can say right now. And I'm glad to be there and to be back with you, Billy Shu, because we work with you on the games made in France, not so far away. So.
Yeah, I try to be a little bit everywhere when it comes to indie game and French game. Yeah, I have to admit, guilty as charged. But I'm glad to see you again. So I would like this to go as more of a discussion than anything. Maybe an exchange between mainly the three of you, because we will be here to ask questions if needed. But I feel like you guys discussing it is the best way to go. If you feel like interacting or intervening to someone's words, please do. But we will be talking maybe first about what your companies are doing, how they are intervening in that sector. What are your companies doing to accompany the actors of video games industry? Whoever wants to go first, please do.
Okay,
Anyone, go for it, guys. Like I would speak for you, but I cannot really do
I
that.
can go first if you want. Speaking for what can do a professional cluster in a very I would say dynamic region, because Occitanie it's pretty active in the industry. What we want to do, our mission is to support and help all the professional people and structures that are in place, and to work with public powers, with institutions, to just be something like like fill the gap between these two worlds. We are here to help little studio to have enough support to build for tomorrow, to stay here, to have people working in the teams that can how to say that, be comfortable to develop the games, to have the time to develop the games, to be well advised to meet the good people about finance, about which will be your next editor, etc. We can work at PushShort. We are working on we are with an incubator. We have an incubator. We are something called the Montpellier Game Lab, which is co-built with another professional incubator, which is the BIC in Montpellier too. And this is one of the missions that which is pretty important, that we can just describe as pretty supportive for these young studios, because you take like studios which are maybe they do have like maybe 6 months to 2 years. Some have money, some do not have money, some have a team, some do not have a team, and you try to help them to fastly acquire competencies and a network and a vision to do not well. There is some traps on the road, and you are here just for them not to go in the traps. And this is one of our mission. Other clusters are doing the same thing. Just to say, this is not specific.
What would be the traps to you? Like?
Traps can be you can bad recruitment, to not have a good definition of what is your production plan, to be able to set priorities, to find financial partners that can be fair financial partners, to know what can be public support, because this is not always clear, to receive some help, to build some administrative stuff that can be very, very time consuming. I can say if that can be very specific problem, like I have a technical question about porting my game on this device, and we can help you with this. Okay. Or this can be I just need to think. I have a team of 5 right now, and I know that because we have an investor, we have to go to 20 in 6 months to be able to go on the production. How can I do that? How can I do that? And well, just to give some examples of what can be done in incubators. And after that, we can work on events. We talked about Game Made in France before with Capital Games and all other associations. That is a great one. It was born during the COVID, which is something that maybe is not seen too, but association we have. We had to work during COVID too, and it was not easy because it was it's hard to keep on going keep the network going, and the people are not seeing each other. This is not easy, but Game Made in France was something that was built with this in mind, in fact. And so associations were implied on that. We can work on stuff like professional report with the French government. We can work, well, it's pretty wide, in fact. And each cluster, because that was about PushStart, but each cluster in France will do similar stuff with the region is in. If you are in Paris, this is not the same thing. Like if you are in Lille or if you are in Bordeaux, this is very different. This can be very different, but we have common ground, and we are working together on those common grounds.
Okay. Wow. It sounds like a lot. We don't realize that when I'm working in the video games industry, obviously, but from a very, very different point of view, and you do not realize how many like traps there are. This sounds ridiculous when you're like someone like maybe a young person trying to get yourself into the video games industry. Like how do you get the knowledge of your company, and how can you be in this incubator, for example? Is there any particular things do you need to apply somewhere? How do you do that?
In fact, just speaking about the incubator, well, in the association, something we do is networking is all the time. In fact, so you have monthly events, you have events like that. So you talk about what you do. So try to be known for that. But for the incubator, very specifically, you have an entry point. We are communicating on our different social stuff. It's not Instagram because we don't have Instagram here, but LinkedIn or Twitter or our Discord server, etc. We are working day by day to know the people on our ground too. So you know who is making something and what is the
Yeah.
project and who are the people. So you are speaking with them and you can help them onboarding
Yeah.
before
Okay.
the program, etc. So you can you have a lot of entry point, and we are working, as I said, with the BIC, which is backed by the Metropole of Montpellier. So we have institutional support on that, and we are covering the whole region thanks to our partners too.
Okay. I'd like to go I'm sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce your name. Rose? How do you say
Right.
it? Sorry.
Okay,
How
Jose.
do you say your
Right.
name? Rose?
Jose.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was terrible. I'm sorry. I'd like your point of view from Spain, literally. Like, what do your company do, and is there anything different from France? Do you feel like it's very similar? Like, how do you see it?
Well, we are an association, so we represent a number of companies. There is a very similar association. We think it's our sister association in France. It's called CEL, and we do the same kind of things over there and here. The main difference is the size of the market, because even consumers are very similar in France and in Spain. France is the third biggest market in Europe. Spain is the fourth, sometimes fifth biggest market. So this is the main difference. So what we mainly do for our members is, well, we are talking about a sector. But video games is something that more than 2,000 million people play frequently worldwide. In Spain, we have 18 million gamers. Um, um, and this is a sector that has a turnover worldwide of that exceeds 150,000 million euros. And in Spain, the turnover is around 1,700 million euros every year. I would say half the size, more or less, than in France. Okay. The thing is that what we try to do for our members is, first of all, we try to defend their interests, showing the potential and possibilities of their products and the video game industry as a whole, in trying to improve the reputation of the video games, and of course also fighting against piracy and defending intellectual property of those who make video games. We also represent them before public administrations for the defense of the sector, and trying to achieve some plans from the governments to make the sector grow in our countries. For example, in France, there are some tax reliefs that we don't have in Spain, and this is something we are trying to get from our public administrations here, also locally, to try to compete with the same benefits that this industry has in other places. We also offer a number of services for our members, such as we give them the chance to participate in events that we organize, uh, big expos that we organize here in Spain. For example, in France, there is one called Paris Games Week. We've got one similar here in Spain called Madrid Games Week, but also in another number of events. At the same time, we try to strengthen the video game business, promoting initiatives to encourage not only the consumption of video games among users, but also the development of video games. Here, France is much better prepared than Spain. In Spain, for example, we are very good in consumption, but we are not as good as in development of video games. Although local developers are pretty well um, or highly valued worldwide. We don't still make as big games as are being done in France.
Do
So
you
we are
know
working.
why?
Well, we don't have Ubisoft. That's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, makes sense.
But no, but at the same time, France is bigger. Um, uh, Local governments in France believed in video games much earlier than here in Spain. It is probably the current government the one that is pushing for video games harder. But in France, they've been doing so for 15 years. So we're a little bit later than France investing in video games and trying to support them. So we also try to give some assistance to our members in this kind of subsidies that I mentioned before, that uh, local authorities are starting to give to our developers, and we also serve as a networking, base, as a place where different players from the industry, different stakeholders can meet and try to work together. Okay, and in the end, we also offer a number of other advantages to our members. But this is the kind of work we are doing. And I would like to mention three special projects that we launched recently. One is called The Good Gamer. This is a project that, in the end, it's a multimedia platform. We are pioneering this in Europe, and we aim to disseminate industry-driven responsible gaming methods, so to promote responsible use of video games, and also to promote the positive values that video games have. We also have another nice initiative, which is called Play Equal, which is about equal gender and inside our industry. We also launched recently a handbook for teachers in schools, explaining them how to use video games in their schools, because you know that video games is being very popular for entertainment, but currently they are also being very important in the cultural sector, also in the educational sector, also in the health sector. So there is a number of very positive things that can be done with video games within these other industries. And another last project I would like to mention is another handbook we're working together with Fundación Once, which is about accessibility in video games. It's a handbook we're preparing to explain developers how they can do their games more accessible for people with any sort of disability. So this is the kind of initiatives we're working on from the association.
That sounds
That sounds
great.
great. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Like I wish we had something like that because accessibility is still a topic that to me is not like
Yeah, we
enough.
still have some work to do.
Yeah, a lot of work. A lot of work.
Accessibility. Yeah.
Thank
If I
you.
may, just on the accessibility, you have it's pretty early, but you have companies that are working on that. I'm thinking about a company called Natural Pad, which really is working on good device. It's pretty interesting. If you are interested in that, you can look at their work. It's pretty good. And you have
Cap,
associations which are
cap
specialized
games
in that type games. Yeah,
that we see every Paris Games Week
Yeah,
is
they
still
do.
yeah,
like I'm very glad they're here because every time they come to Paris Games Week, I'm delighted to have them and have a chat with them. It's always so interesting and great to see how they help making progress. It's still not enough to me, but at least you can see some actors trying to make a difference and trying to make a change. We have Arta coming right after you guys, so we'll still be talking about accessibility today. So thanks,
yeah.
Jose
And you
and
also
Frederic.
have yeah, and on that topic, you also have Silver Geek, which
Yeah,
is a
Yeah.
yeah,
charity
of course,
That's
of
right.
association when they, I think it's just amazing. Esports for elderly people is
yeah.
just fantastic. I have no other word. It's just fantastic. Yeah. So when you were talking about the industry, I think well for so first esports is the competition side of gaming. So I know that many people um, misuse this word gaming and esports. So in my view, it's really easy to say, well, you have the industry in the whole world. The gaming industry makes, I think, in 2021 or 2022, the overall turnover was $200 billion for the gaming industry. But this is gaming. Esport is the competitive part of the gaming industry, which is, well, smaller,
Yeah.
but it's still really big. And then what I'm really interested in is basically throughout my career, it was how can you make basically what I've seen from the movie industry, the sports industry and the gaming industry. Many people want to work in this industry and even esports. But how do you concretely make money out of your passion? And how do you live out of that? And this is something that I'm really interested in because basically we are talking about an industry which is very centered around passion, which is something that people really do on a really regular basis. To me, it's quite interesting. Maybe it's not normal, but I would say interesting to see how important the gaming industry is in the world and how little the media talk about it if you compare to movies or sports or other industries. And it's been years and years and years since it's been like this. And one so funny thing, when I was in London one day, I think it was in 2016, 2017, they told me, oh, you are used to working on international sports competition. Actually, we have a project with people in LA, like they don't have an agent. They don't have an agent. I was like, okay, they don't have an agent. Okay, fine. What's their name? And they were Face Clan. So this is my first experience with esport. That was them. And I was like, okay, face plan, okay, they don't have an agent, maybe they should go and try to organize. Okay, sorry for the bad timing about what happened to them, by the way, but anyway. But what's interesting to me is when you have a team, an esport team, then how do you create if we consider esport gamers and esport players as um, I don't know. The word in English. As athletes, how do we organize everything around them so that they just have to focus on the game and the competition only? And how do we organize everything around them? To me, this is what Americans and English people do really well. I think it is not because they are better than us, Europeans. I don't believe this. I think we have really good talents in Europe. I think it's just that the culture industry, and if we include sports to culture, is completely different. People are used to having agents. People are used to managing their money really differently for very old cultural reasons. And I think what's important is to help professionalize this industry. And then coming back to what l'agence Esport is doing is that basically, well, we are also in the Occitanie region. And what's important to us is to be able to gather entrepreneurs or companies in esport and be able to gather them to create projects with them that will allow the whole esports ecosystem to actually live. Because playing games in your living room, it's really nice, but really honestly, and I'm a very concrete person and pragmatic, this is not what will allow you to pay your bills, pay your rent and everything. And this is a problem that I've seen, a problem or a goal that I've seen in throughout my career, throughout cultural industries. And this is why I believe that it's interesting to work in a sport now. And well, probably in 15 years, it will be really interesting too. But I have the impression that in Europe, the industry is really gathering to try to make it more professional and to help players. And on the gaming side, it's true that in France we have Ubisoft, but I think that it will be not fair to the other gaming studios and gaming companies and gaming designers and all these people to say that we only have Ubisoft. Yes, we have them, and of course, the quality that is demanding is really high because we have, well, we are really lucky to have Ubisoft in France. But I really also believe that it's also because culture has always been really subsidized in France. I know that today we're in partnership with the CNC, and in the movie industry, I worked in it for many, many years, and they help a lot creative people. And I think that this culture to help creativity in France also really helps develop creative projects in gaming. And I would believe that it is a little bit reductive to only talk about gaming rather than without opening to this whole creativity ecosystem and culture ecosystem, which is helped by subsidies from CNC and other organizations in France.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, we have Ubisoft and we have so many great indie studios, so we're
Yeah.
really lucky on that, to be honest.
Mm.
We don't have much time left, but the chat had a question, which was, which limits, if there are limits, do you give to the creators? Do you give limits to the creators that you're accompanying of some sort? I'm not sure of the question, but I figured I'd ask. Maybe I'll be surprised.
No.
Yeah, go for it.
My view is, if, well, I think if there's an opportunity coming in, then, and if people sit around a table and say, okay, so there's this opportunity, what can we do on it? Then I believe that every idea that is relevant to the topic and to the idea is good. But if the question is on design and creativity, then that's different because I don't work for a studio anymore, so I can't. Yeah, but maybe François or José Manuel.
Yeah, just the question is depends on the scope of the question, in fact. But if we are speaking about as an association, there is a studio with an idea, with a concept, with a design. Okay, well, we're not here to judge. If you stay in the law, I mean, this is not a question. We can have advice. We can say, okay, this has been done and done and done again, so maybe you have to be a bit more creative. We can be B2 advisor to say you can't go to a public subside for that because this is not okay with the specification of the CNC the CNC phones. We can help on that, but we are not really here to judge about the idea. We can be advisors. In fact, when we select projects to say we are going for months working with you and backing you, we will look at the project. We will look at the creativity. We will look not only on that. We will look on your support, at what you have now on your teams. Do you have people trusting you? Do you have experience or not? There is a lot of stuff more than just this is a creative idea. Do you have limits on that? This is not our job, in fact. But our job is to say, this idea is pretty great, beware of that and this and that. Or to say, this idea, as we can see, we think this is pretty risky and you will have very much difficulties to get in the market on that.
And yeah, sorry, yeah, go
Sorry,
on.
I just like to hear Rose's point of view.
I was going to add, like, what I normally tell to developers is that creativity should not have any limit. But at the same time, what are video game creators looking for? Are they uh, trying to make money and live out of the video game, or are they trying just to express themselves or whatever themselves? Because in the case they want to make money, sometimes creativity needs to have some limits because the the public, the market is looking for certain products within certain limits, and not only the market, of course, the users. The also studios and publishers are looking for those products that may um, be nice for those publics, for those people looking for video games. So it is great if they have good ideas, but sometimes they need to fit into certain limits to be of the of to like the people who want to use and to play video games.
Okay.
There is a pair of question on that. Just question is, do you want to do a company, or do you want to just build a project? In fact, do you want to do the project because you want to do the project, or do you want to go on the company point of view?
Well, the question, the person who asked the question just said that was exactly my question. So thank you, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
sorry.
we're running out of time. If it's really quick, I can hear you, but it has to be very quick because we have a runner.
Yeah, it's really quick. So just on creativity, I think for very creative people, it's important to understand that, well, most of the time, sometimes it is true, but most of the time, people are not judging them. I know that when you spend a lot of time on a game, developing an idea, people can, when you have somebody in front of you who says, "Oh no, you have to change something," or the concept needs to be tweaked a little bit, or it doesn't really fit the market, they and I totally understand, but it is not personal to some extent. Sometimes you have really bad people and they act personally, and it's absolutely not acceptable. But still, I believe that, yes, as Jose Maria said, then you have a trend in the market, and it doesn't mean that their idea is bad. It just means that maybe their idea needs just to be changed a little bit so that they can make a little bit money with it, and live out of their ideas. And I've seen that in many times, people feeling really hurt and rejected by the industry.
Of course, it's their
Why?
baby. I can understand,
Because
but you have
and
to
I
take
and
a
I
step
think it's
back.
very important. Yeah, because there are lots of talents and they should be encouraged.
Sure. Thank you guys so much. It was so interesting. I wish it could last a little longer, to be fair, but we have a runner and we have so many people to come next. So thank you all three of you. It was very interesting. If you have maybe one last word, and then we'll have to let you go, guys. François, maybe? We ended up with you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first, thank you for doing this. Thank you for just putting the light on the indie industry too, and on the people that are trying to be like helping everybody. In fact, in the shadow sometimes, but we here have an opportunity to say you can come and see what we do to help you, and this is pretty important. In fact.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Frédéric?
Yeah, I think my word would be, if there's something that you feel that you want to work on, you will, well, life or whatever you believe in will always give you a way to do it. So for people who want to work in esports and gaming, maybe they don't have their dream job now. Maybe they have not been able to have that dream job at Ubisoft. But I believe that as long as they go on learning something, then they will have an opportunity to be able to come inside this industry. I think that it is a lie to tell young people that they will have a linear career and always do the same job their
Yeah,
whole
we
life.
know it's not the
Um,
case anymore.
no. So as long as they learn something, even at another industry, then fine. If you become an expert in marketing and you have 15 years of experience and you know the game industry, then maybe you will be hired after having worked for 10 years at Adidas. You will be hired by Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Adidas is not gaming, but still you would have the expertise. So I think it's more open than people believe. And yeah, I think we should send hope to young people who want to work in gaming. And as long as you go on learning something, then don't worry, something will happen, an opportunity will happen for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose Maria, maybe last but not least.
Yes, three quick things. Thank you. One is to gamers. I would tell them keep on playing video games. They are really entertaining. They are a lot of fun, and do it properly. Do it in a responsible way.
Yeah.
To those that develop video games, keep on working on video games and do great games that we can all enjoy. And to the public administrations, I would tell them that this is a sector that we must value, that we must protect. We must protect the work of so many people working for this sector, because this is an industry that generates a lot of jobs in Spain, in France, in Europe, and we have the chance to keep on growing for the next years, and we have to protect this industry. And at the same time, we have the ability to create wealth for our countries. So this is an industry to take care of and to try um, to support locally here in Europe. So that's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys so much. Have a very lovely Saturday and hope to meet with you guys soon. Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow. It's always so short. It's always so short. I wish I could like
It
less.
was actually so hard to let them talk because I had so much to say about working with incubators, because I did work with incubators with La Pleine Image in Lille.
Wish-
Yeah,
We don't have enough time. Please, NTW, next time, can we do like a 2 weeks event? That would be awesome. Thank you guys.
make it 2 months.
I just heard like, yeah, we'll do it. Do not go anywhere. We'll still have a lot more to come. We'll receive Ubisoft Nadio right after. We'll have other games and another conference, 5-minute break, and then we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.